title of the artwork is Requiem, and I came up with that because the whole artwork's a kind of elegy to the earth, a kind of prayer. It goes back into really deep time, but also thinking about the future. We're living through a sixth mass extinction of the earth right now, where the extinction rates are 10,000 times that than ever in all of Earth's history. So it's a really loaded contemporary moment, I think, and artists always respond to what's going on right now, and to me this is what occupies my mind right now. So Requiem, it's a kind of elegy to the planet. So material from before humans, before the earth, but even before the sun existed. So literally the oldest material that there is on earth. So I've been collecting material for years to tell this very deep history of time and of the earth. And I had all these objects in the studio, from fossilised remains to Inca remnants and Viking jewellery and you name it. And I was trying to imagine what size to crush them to, the measurement to crush them to. I learned about an old experiment which determined the weight of a soul as being 21 grams. So I kind of loved the idea that every little vial in the exhibition contains a soul, or a soul of representative of whatever that creature was, or whatever that object was. And so day by day in the exhibition, the people are invited to come in, take one of the vials and pour the dust into the urn, so that over the course of the exhibition, day by day, the artwork evolves and fills up, kind of containing a whole compendium of life, being a kind of remnant of the past, but also thinking about the future. So it's an artwork that really thinks about deep time, about nature, about the cosmos, about interconnection between us and everything that has gone before us, to allow us to be here alive right now. And the kind of wonder of that, and the miracle of evolution, that all of this life that's been lived over millions, billions of years has led to the moment right now. And right now we're also living through environmental crisis. There's so many threats upon humans and other species and the planet. So it's an artwork that kind of draws attention to that. It's quite a sad artwork. So all of my artworks deal with deep time and nature and space and interconnection, but this one probably the most so, and probably the most direct in terms of political messages and so on. I mean, there's a lot of very loaded objects in the urn. So it's the most political work that I've made, in that it's dealing with really quite contentious, difficult objects, from Trinitite, from the first atomic bomb, to leaves discarded from survivor trees from Hiroshima, to soybeans from the dying Amazon forest, which might be lost in our lifetime, soot from Greenland. It's dealing with a lot of heavy climate issues. It's dealing with wars that have been in past, but it's also thinking about all of these civilizations that have come and gone to make our lives and how we live possible on this very short window of time that we've got to act to make enormous changes for the deep future. So the artwork looks back 5 billion years into history to sort of trace a path of human evolution and where we are, but it also looks forward to thinking about the future generations that are going to inherit the world that we've made right now. So it was really important to me that people poured the dust, and that it became something that was quite interactive in the gallery. That's not new for me, but this artwork's probably one of the most direct, in that people literally come in. I wanted them to be able to hold these objects and feel close to them, and feel the closeness of our lives to lives even millions of years in the past that have allowed us to come into being. So it's containing quite heavy, loaded objects. It's quite contentious things. I've crushed them to dust, which is also quite contentious. Some of them are rare objects. Everything is of the earth. So pottery shards from the Aztec cultures and jewellery from Viking era, and I've crushed them in the studio with a small team. We've used a hydraulic press and then literally crushed them using a pestle and mortar. And that wasn't easy because it wasn't a gesture of violence or destruction, quite the opposite. It was kind of a gesture of love. Love for the planet, love for everything that we have and that we're losing. And I thought to myself, if it's this hard to crush a small remnant, you know, all around us, everywhere, we're kind of witnessing a huge destruction of nature, and so on. So it's kind of about trying to bring this intimacy through objects, that creatures, beings, lives that have allowed us to come into being, and to feel our closeness to them. So we used the pestle and mortar. It's taken years, literally. I think it was 3 years in the end to crush all of these objects. And so it's really amazing to watch them now being poured in to the urn. It's also an enormously collaborative project, in that hundreds of people have donated pieces that have been crushed and put into the urn, from the British Antarctic Survey to we're given plastic from a baby albatross that was regurgitated, to a cup that was found in the deepest part of Earth's ocean. Microplastic has reached, you know, everywhere from, and we've got a donation of the first synthetic life that was developed. So these are quite extraordinary objects that are all held in this one space. So we've also made a newspaper to accompany it that's got an amazing text written by Jan Zalovich, who's a geologist that's collaborated wholeheartedly on the whole project. And so he's written a description of every single piece that's in the artwork. The process to get to that point kind of belies the simplicity of what you see. And so it's been years of lots of letter writing. You know, we write so many letters to people, worked with Jan Zalovich, this renowned geologist, to map the whole history of the Earth, and to work from the Anthropocene to now as well, and really carefully kind of pull apart what can we think about from that era, from the pre-Cambrian or to the Cambrian to the Anthropocene. What happened in those moments? What can we pull out from that history, and what exists in material that we can use? So lots of letters, you know, do loads of research with a whole number of different people, and then just write and say, you know what, we're doing this big art project. It would be so amazing. We're looking for 21 grams of dust, you know, to represent the first creature to fly, for example, and then we'll find the expert who works with precisely that niche. And then usually they say, sure, we've got some of this, we can do it, or if we can't, speak to this person. And so there's a lot of communication, a lot of research, a lot of learning, a lot of kind of compiling archives and information, and then we get to the point of the real material in the space. Right about the time that I was deep in a project already that just lended itself perfectly to glass, but I didn't really know where to begin, you know, with the glass. And I'm not a glass maker. I've never worked in glass before. But I knew that I wanted a glass urn, and I needed hundreds of glass vials to create this artwork that's called Requiem, that's open now. So it was remarkable timing. I'd started this project. I've been collecting dust and remnants of the earth for several years, and we've been crushing them in the studio. It's an artwork that tells the story of the whole earth through deep time, from its very beginnings to the current moment. And first of all, I was looking at a lot of scientific shaped vials, but they're a little bit too, even though they're handmade and a little bit different, they're a little bit too clinical. So bit by bit we tried lots of sizes. I wanted it to fit nicely in the palm of your hand and to feel quite intimate, because the whole artwork's quite intimate. So we did an awful lot of tests, you know, with various different shapes, and came to this seemingly very simple kind of cup shape that is the current shape that we used. And so James blew nearly 400 of these vials. So, you know, bless him, he's been working so hard to make the vision that we artists have had come to life. And so it's been, you know, a remarkable opportunity to be able to work with James, to work in this leading glass centre of the UK, and work really closely with him, you know, totally unlike going to a fabricator, or, you know, it's working hand in hand to really envisage something and then have it come to life. And through lots of trial and error, you know, we got there, and it was a very difficult piece to blow in glass there, and it's enormous, so we really pushed to the limits of how far we could go, and to fit all of this dust that contains the whole history of Earth and beyond.